I go ahead and make this video even though the last video didn't really get that much traction, but I still want to go through these because it's fun. You might be wondering why I skipped over 2017 since I did 2016 last time. 2017 was honestly just kind of boring because it was very similar to the year before. I mean, it was more just like Sonic Youth heavy. It was mostly just like all Sonic Youth. I was just listening to them like crazy that year, I guess. I definitely remember listening to them early that year, but yeah, I wanted to go ahead and move on to 2018. It definitely changed up a little bit. There's still some similar artists, but mostly kind of different things and stuff that I was getting really into and excited about at the time. 2018 was an exciting year of music discovery for me. So yeah, let's jump right in with the first slide here. I was going to go through them like I did last time. As you can see, the first thing that pops up here is the Smiths, This Charming Man, which is on this version of their self-titled album. I got really into them later in the year. I guess it was probably like, wasn't until like September or so that year, but I was listening to them like crazy. So you will see the Smiths on here a lot. This one I really got hooked on them and excited about them. I think I got into them because I overheard some woman asking if they had any Smith stuff at a record store here in town that I was there. So that's got me interested, and I kind of looked into them, and I like heard of them before, never really gotten into their stuff, but I got pretty hardcore into it, as you can see. And they're honestly one of my favorite groups of all time. There's 4 albums that they released are just incredible, honestly. So but also on here, as you can see, MGMT again. MGMT released Little Dark Age in February of that year, which was very exciting for me. I very much was anticipating that album, and so it was really exciting when it came out, and it honestly like exceeded my expectations. So I was listening, that was like February of that year, like into March and early spring. So 6 years ago now. It's crazy. I was super into that. I remember I was doing a bunch of like swimming and stuff at the time, so I was training for a marathon, and I like ended up hurting myself running, so I had to do some other endurance stuff at the time. So I was doing a lot of that. So I remember being at the gym, listening to that album and stuff a lot. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Kind of the same stuff besides we can see here in the middle, we've got Burzum. Those first 2 songs off of Philosophum. That was later in the year as well. It's probably October into November through the end of the year is when I really got interested in that album in particular, and just like really started diving into extreme metal more. And I got really hooked on it, just like a lot of classic stuff. And it's when I absolutely fell in love with that album. I was going out on walks in the evening through the forest, and black metal just was perfect for that. So I was really excited about that album, and it was like right around Halloween time too, so like it kind of like fit the aesthetic of that time, and still one of my favorite albums to this day too. So a lot of like incredible music discovery in this year, so that's why it's really exciting for me to talk about this. And those 2 songs are still one of my favorites of all time. They're really incredible. Just some of the best black metal ever made, in my opinion. Next one, same kind of thing here. Still the same artist, Smiths and GMT, another Burzum song there. But we also have Deftones. I guess I started listening to Deftones later in 2018. So I remember listening to them, yeah, it was like, I guess probably around the same time I was getting into black metal and death metal and stuff. And so that was, I remember really listening to that, and I got the CD and was listening to it in the car. It was definitely in like around like December. I remember listening to that, and I remember listening to it in the car on like a way to see one of my high school friends I hadn't seen in a while. I was listening to that album a lot in the car, and I really fell in love with that, and thought the album artwork was sexy. I don't know. I was getting back into my horniness, I guess, after my years of veganism and not being horny. But also on here, you can see on the bottom, interesting that it's like the unplugged version. This Alice in Chains, that maybe like Dirt isn't like available on here right now or something. It's kind of weird that they did that. I was definitely listening more just to the studio stuff. I don't remember really listening to the unplugged at all actually, but Angry Chair, which is on Dirt, the Dirt album. I really got into Alice in Chains that year, also because of my friend that I went to high school with earlier in the year, or met up with him earlier in the year, in the summertime, and I really hooked on Alice in Chains. I'd been huge into Nirvana in high school, but never really got too deep into Alice in Chains, and I fell in love with their stuff at that time too, so that was cool. Next slide, same stuff once again, bunch of Deftones from that Around the Fur album, some more Alice in Chains, MGMT. And the next one, you can see still some Alice in Chains. Definitely, as you can see, some of their self-titled stuff, from their self-titled album. I really got into that album a lot too, listening to that a lot. That one and Dirt I was listening to the most, I think, of all of them. But you can also see I was listening to some of the later Smith stuff too. Their last two albums are on here. But we also have Immortal. So yeah, like I said, I was getting my black metal discovery in this Immortal album, Pure Holocaust, their second full-length album. I really loved the sound of that album. I was listening to that a lot, so that was fun. I still love Immortal. I've really been going back to them in like recent months, and that and Battles in the North are incredible albums. Really, really like them. Next, we've got some of the same stuff again. Definitely remember Grind by Alice in Chains was the first song on their self-titled album. And then I guess I was listening to The Queen is Dead a lot, as you can see. And then at the bottom here we've got 3-6 Mafia. I was really discovering them too. I mean, I'd heard of them obviously, but I'd never really gotten into them, and really just fell in love with that horrorcore sound. And once again, another one of my favorite albums of all time was discovered this year. Absolutely still love that horrorcore sound. It's just really awesome. Just always love stuff like that, just creepy stuff, and they just really nailed it on the head with that one. I don't really listen to too much of their other stuff, and like there was like some stuff that was compiled before this album came out that I really like too, but man, just that album just hits really hard. And next year, we've got some Dark Throne popping in. Definitely got into Dark Throne. I was getting into black metal too, and got some Slayer. I remember listening to Slayer earlier in the year. I think I never like really. I think it like took me a little while to like get into their stuff because it was more harsh, and I wasn't as into the harsh stuff, I guess, before. Not as harsh as that, like fast and intense like that. Didn't used to like that stuff as much, but then I kind of fell in love with it. And we've got 2 Queen songs here from their Sheer Heart Attack album, which is their 3rd full-length album. I got somewhat interested in Queen that year because that Bohemian Rhapsody biop movie came out, and I was enjoying kind of going into their discography because I hadn't really done that before, and still not really something I go back to that often. I mean, Queen, super popular, and they has a pretty cool sound, but it's just still not really my favorite kind of music. But I was fairly into them at that time. Then we have Death Symbolic here. Still love that album. It's what really got me into death metal, and still a killer album. Still one of my favorite album artworks of all time. And got All My Life by the Foo Fighters. I guess I was going back to that album a little bit. The One by One album, which is my favorite album by them. Just going back, I guess I listened to All My Life over and over again or something. So it's kind of a nostalgic song for me. So my dad showed me that when I was a kid, especially when I was listening to the I think it was the first song on the like greatest hits compilation that I used to listen to a lot, and it's one of my favorite songs by them. Still, really cool one. I remember dancing to it in my room with my dad one time. Actually, I had like this little stereo thing on top of this wardrobe that I used to listen to music out of. And that was always fun. I think it was probably like a burn CD. Honestly, like my dad had made a little compiled CD. Get more Smiths for the later album here. Girlfriend in a Coma. It's kind of their funny side. Their depressingly funny stuff. But there's next slide here. We've got Entombed, the Left Hand Path at the top here. I was really into Entombed too. That was definitely probably like around November. I actually remember listening to Left Hand Path. I'd walked over to my grandmother's house. She didn't live too far at the time, and she was having to go through some cancer treatment, so I was taking her in the evenings to get her treatment at the hospital. And I remember listening to that album on headphones on the way there, and on the way back. So it was a memorable time. And more Alice in Chains on here. And as you see at the bottom here, probably kind of a lot different than the other stuff I was listening to. Ariana Grande, she released that album Sweetener, came out in 2018. And I guess I just it just pulled me in for some reason. I just remember, I guess I just listened to some like previews of the songs, and I actually really liked it. And I got hooked on that album and I kept listening to it. And you can see on the next slide here, this is the last slide too, but yeah, it's like that whole album I was listening to a lot. I still like that album. I haven't really listened to her in a while, but that, and then the album that came out after, which will be on the 2019 one, which I'm probably definitely going to do that one. So I think I had a good amount of varied stuff on there too. Obviously kind of overlap a little bit, but I'll probably end up doing that one as well. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. It kind of started this whole little phase where I was mostly listening to like extreme metal and just like mainstream pop music. It was really an interesting contrast. But sorry, I'm all nasally and shit. I'm not really sick, but just like congested and shit. I just got a bunch of fucking mucus. But yeah, so 2018 was definitely a memorable year. It was a cool year for music for me, really discovering some stuff and kind of peeking myself back into the mainstream a little bit here. Started being interested in that, and I'm sure we'll see that on the next year. I started getting into some like rap music again, some modern rap music. And I'm excited to go through that and see what's on that playlist too. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you remember what you guys were listening to in the year of 2018. Tell me what you guys were doing in the year of 2018. Like hearing stories of things that people were doing. And yeah, please support my friends here as always on the side. Links in the description. And yeah, thank you guys for watching once again, and we'll see you guys next time.